Hello, everybody, and welcome to Your Father's Story. Let's dive right in and see what mischief I can get myself into today, huh? What childhood experiences did you have that you wish I would have gotten to experience? I don't really know, honestly. I do kind of wish that Aiden would have gotten to play outside with friends more, but where he lived was not really conducive to that. He did get to do a little bit of that, but not a whole lot. Christian did get quite a bit of that. I do kind of wish that you guys had gotten into baseball, but it wasn't really an interest of either one of you, so it is what it is. You guys just had your own interests, and I had mine. Baseball was a much bigger thing when I was growing up, so it just kind of is what it is. I don't know. Christian and I experienced a lot of the same things as kids. Aiden had it a little bit different. I can't really think of anything like glaring. Yeah, I guess it's kind of funny if you really think about it. I wish both of you could have had more of what the other one had. I kind of wish Aiden would have had more neighborhood friends to play with. And I wish Christian would have been able to get out more and see more things. Go to more different kinds of activities and things like that. Although, it doesn't really answer the question. The question is what childhood experiences that I had that I wish you guys had gotten. Although I guess, maybe it kind of is. I did have some childhood activities. I did go to the beach and the Great Escape, and we went to the museum, the Albany State Museum, which was very cool. I did get to do a lot of different things like that, but I guess that's it at the end of the day. Again, I know I've said this before. I know my mom wishes that my dad had taken me to the zoo. But it didn't happen, and I don't think I would have cared anyways, to be honest with you. But yeah, it just kind of is what it is. Like I said, I guess at the end of the day, I wish both of you could have had a little more of what the other one had. But, again, it is what it is. And, it doesn't make or break either one of you. It's just different experiences for different people, I guess. What kind of student were you? Did you have any favorite classes or subjects? What were your grades like? Obviously, this is a question for elementary school because the type of student I was in high school was non-existent. I was a decent student in school. Homework was my greatest weakness. It just was. It was very difficult to get me to do anything outside of school, and I think that's where I really kind of floundered toward the end there. I will always say that a lot of things happened between 4th and 5th grade that really damaged me psychologically and therefore academically. My parents split up during that time, and we also switched schools. I was going to Dorothy Nolan School for the first 5 years of elementary school, and it's weird how I don't want to say I was one of the popular kids, but I was more well liked at Dorothy Nolan, and yeah, it was just a different kind of experience. And then when I went to Caroline Street, it was I wasn't anybody anymore. And thinking back on it, I can really visualize the changes, and I was a completely different kid. I was much quieter. I didn't really interact as much with people anymore. I made my share of friends over there, but it just wasn't the same experience. And that's when my attendance started to drop, and that's when my grades started to drop a little bit. Yeah, I will always say that was kind of the beginning of the end. But yeah, I was a decent student. I want to say I was a C to a B plus average student when I really tried. Could have been better. I know I was almost student of the month in 4th grade twice, but I failed to do homework assignments, which, again, my Achilles heel, which is what kind of screwed me out of that. But it was what it was. 4th grade was probably my best year. Probably my favorite year, too, but it was probably my best year academically. So, yeah. It's a lot of factors and a lot of things. It just... things happen the way they do, and you know it always ends up the way it is at the end. But you know, you can see it is the way it is now. You know, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but at the same time, I wouldn't change it either. It just is what it is. Oh yeah, I didn't answer my favorite subjects. I liked social studies. I liked learning about history, and spelling was a favorite subject of mine. Actually, when I moved to Caroline Street, they used to do spelling bees every week in class, and I won several of those spelling bees. It's like some of the only things I ever won in school. So yeah, I guess that's worth noting there at the end. What funny or memorable dad hack or shortcut did you ever invent? What's the story behind it? I don't know that I invented it, but propping up your bottle with a blanket so I could continue to play video games was definitely something that I utilized. And I don't think there's much of a story behind that. I wanted to continue to play video games. Yeah, that was pretty much it. I don't really... I can't really think of any other dad hacks or shortcuts. You know, I pretty much did things by the book other than that, you know. If I had to, like, rock you to sleep or burp you to sleep, usually in the case of Christian, I just sat in a rocket chair and burped you to sleep. Changing diapers is pretty straightforward. Changing clothes is pretty much straightforward. Giving you a bath is pretty much straightforward. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't think it counts as a hack or a shortcut, but, you know, if I had to feed you or whatever, but, like, video games weren't a thing, just put on a TV show or something to watch or listen to, you know. It's not really a hack or anything, but it's something to keep you occupied and distracted, you know. So that's important too. Yeah, I don't think... I can't think of any better answer to that one. Can't think of any hacks that involve, you know, like putting you in your car seat. Again, straightforward. So, yeah, I think that's it. Can't really think of anything else. Is there a secret or key to happiness? I don't know that there's a secret or key to it. I think that... I mean, obviously it depends on circumstances. There are some people that have just had the entire world shit on them, and it's impossible. It's just impossible for them to find any kind of real happiness, at least at that particular point in time. You know, they're going to have to just keep fighting until they find it. But for the normal person, I think the secret or key to happiness is just staying positive and looking on the bright side. As someone who suffers from depression, I think that's very, very important. I think at the end of the day, your mental mindset controls just about everything. And if it's not there, then you're probably going to have a bad day as it is. And sometimes all it takes is a mental mindset. Sometimes all it takes is just to clear your head for a few minutes and almost kind of reset and start the day over kind of thing. And I know it's really hard to stay positive. Like, God knows I have trouble with that, a lot of times. But, staying positive and turning negatives into positives, I think, is like two of my key mottos. And yeah, I think that those are two very, very important values that can't be overlooked and should be utilized as much as humanly possible. And other times, there's going to be days when you just want to crawl back into bed and just lay there until the next day and start over again. And sometimes it'd be like that, but yeah, I don't think there's any real secret or key. I mean, there is something to be said also with surrounding yourself with people with similar beliefs and similar positivity to you. Obviously, you don't want to surround yourself with too many negative people, because then your outset starts to become a little bit negative. So yeah, that is something very, very important to consider as well. Environment has a lot to do with it, but also sometimes your mental mindset has to overcome that. Sometimes it has to overcome whatever's happening in your environment at that particular time. So it sounds complicated, and it is complicated, and I'm making it sound, it all sounds easy to say out loud, and it is much more difficult to put into practice, but sometimes you have to work at it. Sometimes you have to work at happiness a little bit. You shouldn't have to work at it too much, but there are some days when you do have to work at it a little bit, So I would say that's the main thing, is staying positive and trying to make sure your environment is as positive as it can possibly be. What is your proudest accomplishment thus far? I don't know that I can really narrow it down to just one. I guess I could do the cheesy one and get it out of the way, and so you guys can cringe and go ahead and go about your day. But obviously, having you guys in my life and seeing the type of men you've become is an extremely proud accomplishment for me. And that is the truth. It's not just something that I'm just saying. It is extremely true. So, and you guys know that because I tell you that all the time. So yeah. I've talked a little bit about the Little League Championship game. In case you need a recap, it was my second year of Little League, and it was a tough year for me. And that was during that transition too. I talked about the elementary school stuff. That was during, my parents breaking up and switching schools and all that. And that's another thing looking back, that I was just a completely different kid. The year before in minor league, I was one of the best players on the team. And that following year, I could not play to save my life. Just my entire mindset was just shot. I could not hit the ball to save my life. I didn't get a single hit all season. And then we were playing this very important game that we needed to win in order to get into the playoffs. And I was up to bat, and I remember like it was yesterday. You guys know my memory sucks, but I remember this. The pitcher pitched the ball. I swung and I knocked it right down the third base line, the opposite line, and I hit a single, and my team went completely ballistic, just completely insane, and it was jumping and screaming and cheering for like 2 minutes straight. I would say that, like, some people were probably sitting in the stands, so like, what the hell was he cheering for? What the hell are they screaming about? This guy just got a single. But apparently it was a very important hit that helped us win the game and get into the playoffs. It was in the newspaper the next day. It's key hits by Bob Blanchard. I think they were calling me Bob at the time. And Kevin Lynette helped Walton get into the playoffs or something along those lines. I have the article around here somewhere. Anyway, that's not even the moment I'm talking about. It helped us get to the championship game. And, you know, we got crushed that game. Again, I've talked about this before. We lost like 13-6 or something like that. That other team was really, really good. They were killing everybody all year. But I went 2 for 2 that game, and I drove in a run. I had an RBI that game. It was the best game I ever played. So someone on that team rose to the occasion. That has always been something that I'm extremely proud of. Being able to wrestle has been an extremely proud achievement for me. And that one match that I had, the last one-on-one match I had, was a very surreal moment. Just craziness. I'm not going to get into all the details now, but it was the biggest crowd I'd ever wrestled in front of, and it was a great moment. It just was. It was an amazing moment, and again, something I'm extremely proud of. Getting the job I have now has been a very proud moment for me, because it was something I never wanted. Never in my life did I want to be a manager, and circumstances just called for it, and here I am, you know, and I love it so far. I have no regrets thus far. Everything's been great, and I couldn't have asked for anything better than what I have right now. So that's been amazing. The YouTube stuff has been very proud for me. I've worked really hard at this, and watching it grow bit by bit has been very satisfying. And, you know, you guys being there for the streams every week is just a lot of fun. And just being able to entertain like that for me is, I love to entertain. I always have. And that goes back to the wrestling thing, and that goes back to a lot of other things too. But, you know, being able to entertain by doing this on YouTube, playing games, whatever I happen to be doing, is an extremely proud achievement for me. Being able to hold all of this together, just all of that has been proud. Has been a proud moment. Has been something that has been very difficult to accomplish, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been slipping lately the last few weeks, but you know, I'm not beating myself over the head with it. You know, I'm just tired, and I gotta, you know, rebound, and doing this episode is a part of the rebound. I haven't put an episode out of this in like 3 weeks. So that's a step in the right direction for me. But yeah, I would say that those are some of, and probably my most proudest accomplishments. Can't think of anything else off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more. I honestly believe that there's more, but they're just not coming to my brain right now. But those are definitely some of my proudest accomplishments. And that is going to do it for this episode of Your Father's Story. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for your patience, as it's been a few weeks since I put out an episode of this, as I hit a, you know, little bit of a pit in my mental, you know, breakdown, you know, whatever. Took a little bit to recover, and now I'm starting to get back on the horse and get things back on track. So I definitely appreciate the love and support as I continue to put the train back on the tracks. So leave a like, subscribe, notifications, and all that stuff. RobertBlanchardBooks.com. If you're interested in the award-winning Roar of a Dragon series, you can read the first 3 chapters of each book there for free. If you want to hear more about them or more about what's going on the channel, the Rise of Dragons podcast, wherever you find your favorite podcasts. My Linktree, my Instagram, my Twitter are all Bobby's World 2110. Mondays, roughly about 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is the Bloodborne No Blood Vial Run live streams. This past week, after finally disposing of the Bloodstar Beast, I now am trying to figure out where to go next, and that was a little more difficult than I initially anticipated. So, yeah, tune into that to see if I figured it out or not. Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is what you're watching right now. Your Father's Story. Don't really have to explain too much about what that is. So if you like vlog style type stuff, this is the place for it. Saturdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is Bobby's Gaming Lounge. It's my weekly live stream where I play games. You guys come in the chat and we just have a fun old time. Been playing Resident Evil Requiem lately, so my boy Vaporish Titan says I have about 3 to 5 hours left, so probably 2 live streams, I'm guessing, left to go. That should be a good time. I'm definitely looking forward to the end of that game and seeing where it's going, because I literally have no idea. I have no idea where this game is going and no idea how it's going to end, so I'm very excited for that. That is very cool. So I guess it's time to go to the outro, and since I can't do the magic thing on the Soulsborne challenge videos anymore, I guess I'm going to do it right here. So here we go. There we are. All right. So we're going to put a couple videos up here. Up here is going to be a video about where I got my first kiss. And down here is going to be a video recommended by YouTube from this channel. Hopefully something that you would be, you would prefer to watch. That would be something that is supposed to be there. Otherwise, YouTube's not doing its job. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy that. I hope everyone has an amazing week. Be well, stay safe, and as always, it's Bobby's World, and you're all just living in it.